This segment has been sponsored by the local Edward Jones office of Lee Colvin. The host of this show and Edward Jones have an existing business relationship. This event is not a testimonial of the services provided by Edward Jones financial advisor Lee Colvin.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric, MTE's charitable foundation, Sharing Change. Well, that's funded by members like you who round up their electric bills to the nearest dollar each month, supporting hundreds of nonprofits. Discover more at sharingchange.org. Today, our friend and radio buddy, Lee Colvin, Edward Jones financial advisor, joins us today. And first of all, Lee, good morning to you, sir.
Hey there, Brian. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Got a little nip in the air. Fall is here, it feels like.
It is definitely a little chilly. Definitely a little chilly out here today, but isn't that what fall's all about?
Yeah, it's about that and not knowing whether you need heat or cooling in the house.
Absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
Hopefully for some of the heating up that's going on, we can talk about that and think about some good investment strategies with voting that's going on right now, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
All the heat around that.
Yeah, fall is in the air, and if you have fall in a presidential election year, that there's always something going on. So the presidential election just weeks away, and early voting actually starts in Rutherford County tomorrow. So hopefully you're keeping an eye on that, but also today our topic, voting for solid investment strategies, right?
Absolutely. Brian, with this presidential election just a few weeks away, the public is naturally interested in not just the outcome of the election, but the results what those results will really mean for issues of national importance. And, as a citizen, you likely share these concerns with everybody, but how about as an investor?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that sometimes we want to bring up because folks have questions for us about it. And after the votes are counted, or maybe even before, should you, as an investor, make some moves in anticipation of possible changes in policy?
Well,
so just want to bring some ideas to folks' minds today.
Yeah, so let's take the 3,000-foot view here, if you will, the big picture. What can we learn about this and investing, presidential elections, impacts, and things like that? What can we learn from history?
Well, the financial markets have performed well, and at times not so well under Democratic and Republican presidents alike. And the same is true about which party controlled Congress. What I will say, Brian, is that while it might be an overstatement to say that decisions made in Washington have no effect on the markets, it's not always so easy to draw a direct line between what happens there and how the markets perform.
Yeah. Maybe an example here of that.
Well, sure. For one thing, political candidates often make promises that are not fulfilled, or if they are, they have different results than what were originally intended, right? Also, other institutions can have a significant impact on the markets. For example, the Federal Reserve. They control the short-term interest rates, and they can certainly affect many market sectors. There will also be some external events such as foreign conflicts and even natural disasters that can make some short-term impacts on the investment world today.
Well, we've definitely seen all of those, obviously. So rather than making a change in your portfolio in anticipation or in reaction to what might, could, should happen and certain, candidates are elected out there, you're going to kind of share with us some factors that we should look at and not necessarily just, replying or responding to potential policy changes. So we're going to talk about your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, and your need for liquidity. So let's start off with the first factor to take a look at, and that being your goals.
Well, you probably have some short and some long-term goals that you would like to achieve. For your short-term goals, such as maybe a wedding, a down payment on a house, or a long vacation, you may really want to invest in instruments that provide stability of principal. And then for your long-term goals, most important of which may be a comfortable retirement, you'll need to own a reasonable amount of growth-oriented investments.
All right, so setting your goals, and we're talking with Edward Jones financial advisor Lee Colvin about vote for solid investment strategies, and part of that taking a look at your risk tolerance. So maybe talk to us about that.
So when you're building and maintaining your investment portfolio, as we're discussing these different investment vehicles and instruments to determine your short and long-term goals, Brian, your risk tolerance really means a lot. So when you're building and maintaining your investment portfolio, you will need to accommodate your individual risk tolerance. Also, investments can carry some type of risk, but you need to be comfortable with the overall risk level of your investments.
All right. So we've talked about your goals, your risk tolerance. What about time horizon?
Well, so where you are in your life is a huge, very important consideration when investing. So when you're young and just starting out in your career, you may be able to focus more on growth. And then as you have time to overcome the inevitable short-term market downturn. But as you near retirement, you may want to consolidate any gains that you have achieved and lower your risk level, maybe by moving your portfolio toward a somewhat more conservative approach. Mm-hmm. Even in retirement, though, you will need some growth potential to stay ahead of inflation.
Well, the final factor here to take a look at is the need for liquidity. Maybe explain that and what you mean by that.
So as you invest, you will need to maintain an adequate amount of cash and cash equivalents in your holdings. Without this liquidity, you might be forced to sell some long-term in case that you have an unexpected expense. And we never want to see this happen for anybody.
So, Lee, in case here, what we've been talking about when it comes to investing, I guess it's maybe the overall point is maybe pay less attention to what names are on the ballot and take a look at your investment strategies first in that and not worry as much about what policies may or may not happen, et cetera.
Absolutely, Brian. If you can vote on the long-term strategy that reflects your needs and your goals, and not get, persuaded to lean too far, too left, too right. Don't swerve down the interstate just because you see something coming. Just calm down, breathe, take the right move. We feel that might be a more appropriate reaction, and we think that you'll have a more comfortable move in trying to achieve success in your long-term and short-term goals both.
Well, maybe it's been years since one of our listeners here that may be listening now has looked at their strategies for the long term. Maybe they're in search of a financial professional to help them with situations like that, just need some advice, I'm sure I know who they could probably call right here in Rutherford County, yourself or any of the other Edward Jones financial advisors here in the county.
Brian, we would absolutely love the opportunity to help, and folks can always reach out to us at my office at 615-907-7056. Again, that's 907-7056. Or you can go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, search us out those ways, or just on edwardjones.com. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to help.
Very good. Well, Lee, enjoy the weather. It sounds like you're maybe even outside. I can hear birds chirping every now and then.
Oh, yes. Lots of good chirping around here.
Well, very good. Hope you have a good day, and we'll catch up with you here in a couple of weeks, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you, Brian.
That is day. You too. Edward Jones, financial advisor. Lee Colvin joining us here on Rutherford Issues, and that will do it for the program today. Thank you so very much for making us a part of your day. Check the podcast out if you missed part of the show, and we'll see you back here next time.